Hey guys, I'm back. Tonight I want to show you some of the tools that I use when I cook in my home. And I've got, I don't know, 5 or 6 different things I want to show you tonight. And hopefully they help. So a lot of you all were asking for a cooking video. And like I said in one of my previous videos, my kitchen isn't quite set up to be as wheelchair accessible as I would like it to be. So when we do get around to actually doing the modifications, I will do another video and show you that. But in the meantime, I wanted to show you kind of some of the things that I use in my day-to-day life to cook. And so for starters, I want to show you this. This thing is really cool. It's called the Clever Cutter. And if you notice, this white panel right here is basically like a little mini cutting board. So the reason I like this is because if you have a hand injury, which my husband not too long ago experienced, he was having trouble with his dominant hand, and so he couldn't really use his hand as good as he normally could. So this thing is cool. And so again, you've got this cutting board and you've got the blade here. And I was really skeptical at first. I thought there's no way this is going to work. No way it's going to be as good as you think. And the reason I like this is I feel like it's a lot safer than just using a giant knife to cut things. I don't know how well it would do with thicker fruits and vegetables or whatever, but it does work. It works surprisingly well. So I'll just show you. For starters, got a little baby carrot here, and it fell on the floor. But it cut through that pretty easy. And now I'm going to show you the cucumber. Take it. And it does have a little bit trouble piercing the skin on the other side when you're finishing up the cut. But you can see it did a pretty good job. Cut it all the way through. So that's the first thing. And actually, you'll notice that I've got a cutting board right here. But actually, all I've really done is I've pulled out one of my drawers and sat a cutting board down in there and then just shut it to where it shuts the cutting board into the drawer like that. So the cool thing about that is it basically gives me a workable countertop. And so that's just kind of a little life hack thing that I've learned over time. So that's the first thing. And the next thing I want to show you are these two things. This is the Eve glove and this is the Pitt mitt. And the biggest difference between these is the length of the cuff on the Pitt mitt. So if you're reaching inside, an oven, for instance, it protects your arm a lot better. This one's a little shorter, but it's easier to use. I feel like it's really good for just picking up, maybe a hot bowl or something like that. This is the Eve glove and this is the Pitt mitt. And those are really good just for transporting hot items in your kitchen. The other kind of mitt thing that I have right here, this is the Orca silicone oven mitt. And the advantage to this one is you can actually physically stick your hand in hot water. I mean, you want to be careful, obviously, but it does work, and it's safer in my opinion. The only thing is it's a little bit harder to grip onto things at times because it's a mitt and not a glove. So the fingers don't really move around. But it has a really good grip, and if you look here, it has a sort of like what you see on the soles of a shoe. It has a really good grip there, so it's good to hang on to. The next thing I want to show you, this is the Imson Pasta and More. There are other versions. One of the other versions out there is called the Pasta Boat. They're all pretty much the same. They all pretty much have the same strainers and lids and things like that. But I'll show you this one because this is the one I have. First of all, you'll notice these yellow handles right here. These are actually to help you measure pasta. And there's also a manual when you get one of these that will show you how to measure out things. And it also has numbers right here. And these are to show the water lines. So it'll say like water level 4 for macaroni or something. And then you measure out your pasta and put it in the water. And then there's several different attachments. This one, it folds back, so it folds in half kind of like that. And one side, hopefully you can see this, has a strainer. So what you do is you slide it on. You want to make sure that it's actually on there really good. So it pops on. I will say you want to be very careful if you have water in this, especially it's going to be hot water when you're done microwaving. You want to pour really, really slowly and pour on the side that has the strainer. But it will leak out the side if you turn it up too much, so you want to be really careful about that. It also has different steaming trays, and so you can do, I've done sweet potatoes, and you can steam potatoes in it and all kinds of vegetables and whatever. So again, it comes with a cookbook, which is really handy because it gives you a whole bunch of different ideas for what all it does, because it does do a whole lot. Again, it also has a lid, a solid lid that you can use for storing. Again, if it has liquid in it, I would not turn it up too much because it will leak out the side. It's not sealed completely. But kind of the nice thing about that, if you follow the instructions on, for the water levels and everything for the different types of pasta and whatever, generally you're not going to have any water left over. There might be some, obviously you want to still drain it like you normally would. But I like this better because it's just sturdier than like a plastic colander, and it doesn't get as hot as a metal colander. So, and I will say that if you are going to transport it around your kitchen, you want to make sure that you have a really, really good pot holder. And again, this is the same brand as the silicone oven mitt. This is the Orca pot holder, and I like this one because it's silicone. It doesn't absorb liquids, so if there's heat and moisture from the pot that you have, this doesn't absorb into it, and that makes me a little bit nervous with fabric pot holders, especially if you're going to try to put something like that in your lap, because if you have limited sensation in your legs, you might not even realize how hot something like a pot might be, or even the pasta boat. So I would definitely invest in something like this at least. And I'll include links to all of the stuff that I'm showing you tonight, so you can purchase it online if you like any of this stuff. So the last thing I want to show you is the Handy Gourmet Cool Touch Bowl. And when I got this, originally I kind of joked around about how silly it was, and I didn't really understand, and we joked about it and whatever. It was a gift, but honestly, it's one of my favorite things out of all of this right now. The thing that I like about it is it has a handle right here, so you can carry it like that, and it doesn't get it gets a little bit hot on the bottom, so you have to be careful, but this stays really, really cool on the sides, which I really like. I still would, just to be safe, if you are unsure about how much sensation you have or how hot something is, I would still put down something like the Orca silicone pot holder, just to be safe. But honestly, this thing, if you don't overheat it, if you are doing something like less than 2 minutes or something, generally it's completely fine just to sit in your lap and no big deal. And the other thing I really like is, so you can wash them separately, the plastic and the bowl. And these bowls are really, really deep, so I tend to use these all the time. And they also have a lid that goes on it, so if you have leftovers, it just kind of sits on there and you can store it in your refrigerator. So it's kind of like a Tupperware container too. Again, you have to remember that these are separate, so you don't want to pick it up by just the bowl itself. You want to make sure that you have both in your hands, because you might drop it and break it. Last couple things I want to point out, again, and I think I covered some of this in my home adaptations video. So let's say we're gonna, microwave our leftovers. We've got leftovers. We want to pull the lid off of this and take it over here. And see, got my little handle here and kind of got my thumb bracing it, so it kind of helps there. And so again, if you watched my home adaptations video, you probably saw where I talked about the microwave and the stove. And again, this is sort of why I wanted to wait on the full modification video, because there are some things we still want to have done. But I personally really, really like the oven door style microwaves, because if you've got your food, say it's microwaved, let's finish it up. You want to pull it out and say it's really steamy. You don't want to, you want to be careful that, again, these are really great because they're pretty safe to grab onto. But I like the oven door because I can sit it there and stir it, you know, at a lower level, and you know, it's easier to access, and then I just shut it and go. So it's just kind of one of those little things that I never really thought about until I had it, and now I really, really like it. And so you've also got the same thing going on with the oven, and you could do the same thing. Here we have a double oven, so I've got my lower oven, and if it's hot, again, you don't want to reach in there without, you know, protection on your hands. I've got my pit mitt, and you know, I can reach to as far as the cuff goes, and I'm protected. So and you still want to be careful and not make sure you don't hit your arm on the stove or anything like that. But I'll show you. Since I've got the double oven, and again, you'll notice I have my arm far away, you can still reach in and do that. And let it sit there for a minute, let it cool off or whatever. I will say that if you're using the UV glove or the pit mitt, it isn't water resistant or liquid resistant. So it might be safer. It's definitely safer as far as like if you have some sort of boiling liquid in this. I would maybe use the silicone glove for that. But you know, if it's just, you know, you've made dinner and it's like pot roast or something and there's no liquid in it, this is fine, you know, and you just pick it up. Again, you want to have the silicone pot holder. Just if you aren't able to carry this like this, which is generally what I do, I don't normally sit it down in my lap anyway. But if you have trouble carrying something like this around, you definitely want to use a pot holder in your lap and to carry it over to the flat surface. But again, I like this because I can let it sit here for a minute, let it cool off a little bit while I'm getting other things together. That is pretty much it for tonight. And again, like I said before, I will do another video later on down the road, but you guys are asking, so I thought I'd go ahead and show you some of the things that I use day to day. So I'm going to include links to all of the things I showed you, and if you like it, you can purchase it through the links in the description of this video. And if you like these videos, be sure to share the videos and subscribe to my channel. And you know, leave me a comment. Let me know what you like, what you want to see next, what you would do differently, because that's how we learn. We share with each other, and you know, I'm always open to growing and learning new things myself. So that's it for this video. Be on the lookout though, because pretty soon I'm going to be starting my adaptive workout videos. I'm really excited, and I think I'm going to have a few of those. You guys have a great night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.